Hello, hello. Hey, y'all. Okay. So I did not post this on YouTube earlier to say I was going live. I think I did it the other day, though. Mentioned it. Um, so thank y'all for coming. Again, this is another reason why I don't do live videos. However, I did not have time to film. So I thought what I would do is go ahead and do my monthly budget. Of course, yesterday was June the 1st. So for all of you who might be new to the channel, hey y'all, how y'all doing? My name's Shakima. I'm a single mom. I have 4 children. That's right, y'all, 4 of them. 3 of them are adult. One is not so adult. I have a fur baby and a fur grandbaby. So Shamika is 33. Trandon is 27. Hey Kim. Hey girl. Hey. Alana is. I'm gonna actually go post now to say, hey y'all, join me on. I should have done this earlier, but I was doing some other stuff. Yeah, I'm just gonna put a picture for picture's sake. Y'all chime in and let me know where you're joining me from. Um, Trandon is 27, Alana is 19, and Jackson is 14. So I can't tell who's breathing hard, but I think it's the dog. Mama is 5, and that's my dog, and it is her. She sounds like a human. And then, of course, Acro is my fur grand dog, and he is 4. He will be 5, and Mama will be 6. So I thought I would budget tonight online with you guys simply because I didn't have time to budget. I actually was supposed to be out of town today, but that did not work out for me. So I'm home and I have time to do it. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do it out of town. I probably could have, but I wanted to make sure that I got this budget out. Hey, ma'am, how are you? Good to see you from Naples, Florida. I'm so glad to see everybody. Thank y'all for your continued support of the channel. If you're watching this on the replay, I will say this. Please do make sure to check that you're subscribed. I have had a lot of people unsubscribed for whatever reason. And I think it's just one of those YouTube things that's, they're purging out the system and a lot. And actually all of my numbers are low. Like my watch time is low. And I know I haven't posted as many videos, but I've posted a few more videos than what I had done in the previous months. And I'm just low still for some reason. I have had quite a few people say, "Hey, I haven't seen your stuff. I didn't know where you were. You disappeared." And I can say the same is happening for some of my people that I follow. I don't know where their stuff is not coming in. One that I can think of for sure is like marriage and motherhood. I always watch Gia, and I haven't seen any of her videos populate in my feed in a long time. So if I want to find her, I have to purposefully go over to her channel and look for her. So I don't know, just make sure that you're subscribed. And if it unsubscribed you and you feel led to subscribe back, please do the things. So again, I wanted to share my budget for the month of June. Y'all, excuse me. This is why I don't film live. And I wanted to do it before too late because I have been up quite early. I've been working out at 6 a.m. in the morning at the gym. So I've left my house and at the gym working out early. So I'm up early trying to get it all done, but I'm very thankful that it is done. So it's June. You guys, this is my last. Oh, I didn't even think about that. This is my last official paycheck of my school year. So if you're new or you haven't seen me in a long time, remember I am a educator by profession. I'm kind of like what I term a transition coach. I help 8th graders transition into the high school, although I do work with 6th and 7th graders, and sometimes we will funnel down to 5th graders. We don't usually do 5th graders overly much, but we do 6th, 7th, and 8th. My primary role is to help 8th graders plan out their high school career. So that's what I do. And that means I work as long as school is open. So I'm a 10-month employee, 10-month employee. So I work from mid-August to the first week of June. Kids' last day was yesterday. We have another week, and then teachers are done. So this is my last official paycheck. If you've been following me, you've seen me do something called summer groceries. So for those of you who have been following me, I'll show you summer groceries. Hey, ma'am, good to see you. I'll show you how that works. Let me see if this will let me. Oh, this will just let me do that. Okay, let me see. I'm streaming. Will this let me turn that on? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. I'm trying to add another channel on. We'll see if it lets me. So you'll see me talk about my summer groceries because I do not get paid in the months of June. So end of June and the end of July, I do not get a paycheck from, oh, there it is. Looks like it's letting me add it. So it does not allow me to, when I first started working, I was able to spread out my pay over 12 months. After I started working and I was working for the county I work in now, probably about 10 years in, they stopped doing the 12 months paid. So we had to go to something that was called a summer share account. So in order for me as a single mom, once a month paid employee, to have money in the months of June and July, I have to pull out, I have my credit union. They pull out a certain amount of money for me. Hey, Charlie, they pull out a certain amount of money for me every single month, and they put it into an account that's called a summer share account. I designate how much money goes into that account. And then at the end of June, they put half into my checking account. And at the end of July, they'll put the other half in my checking account. That's the only way we have money for my mortgage. Well, actually, all I have are my mortgage, utilities, and water bill. That's all the bills, or those are all the bills. Hey, Miss Sue, those are all the bills that I have during the summer months that I have to cover, right? So for those of you just joining me from Facebook, I am a once a month paid employee. And June or May, the end of May, I get my last paycheck. I do not make money over the summer. I do not get paid over the summer. I have to set up that account at the beginning of my work year and pull out the money every single month. And it's split between the 2 months that I don't get paid. So I'm technically unemployed in June and July. I still have a job, but I don't gain a paycheck. Now, a couple of years ago, they went back to the 12 months, but I had already been set up on the 10 months and the summer share, and I didn't want to change it again, right? So all of my insurance comes out in 10 months instead of 12. All of my, what else is it? Everything that all of my medical, health, eyes, ears, teeth, all that for the kids, all of that comes out in 10 months. So they take a larger chunk out. And so what happens then is for the summer months that I don't get paid, I don't have to pay those premiums. They're already paid up ahead. That was a small adjustment for me at the very beginning because I was used to being paid over 12 months, but it has worked out. And I've been on this summer share payment plan for maybe the last 8-9 years, something like that. Well, probably longer than that. Probably maybe closer to 10 years or something like that. I'm sure. It's been a while. I'm just getting ready to go into my 26th year of teaching. So you guys, I'm going to be retiring soon. The year that Jackson graduates from high school, I will be eligible to retire from the system. And that's a beautiful thing. Knowing that I would have done 30 years. And I'll be 51 years old. So I will be able to retire and do something else if I choose to do something different, or I can continue to work more if that is what I want to do. Hey, you guys, thank you for joining. Now, with that being said, I'm going to be showing you my MYMT personal budget sheet. A lot of people asked me to send them that sheet, and I did via email. I'm not sending that out anymore. However, if you want to find the sheet, you can actually Google it, MYMT personal budget sheet, or you can go to my YouTube channel and download it. It's in the description box of every video that I post. You'll see that budget sheet. For those of you who are joining me via Facebook, if you didn't know, the kids and I do have a YouTube channel. It is One Mom, Two Girls, Two Boys, 8 in all. If any of my regulars don't mind grabbing that for me and just popping the link into the chat, that would be helpful. So you can follow us over there. We do all kinds of stuff. Lots of stuff I do on Facebook as well, but we do all kinds of stuff over there. But tonight's video is about the budget. And again, this being our last budget, um, of our school year. So I'm actually a stay-at-home full-time mom in the summer. So I get 10 weeks to be at home with my children, and that is a blessing as well. It's also a blessing not to have debt. My children and I are 100% debt-free with the exception of my home, but I will tell you a little bit about that as well. I think it was in January. It was probably it was in January. No, it had to be in December, right? When we got our escrow back, when we normally, you'll get this letter that says, hey, you overpaid your escrow or you underpaid your escrow. Well, we had underpaid the last 2 years. 2 years running, we had underpaid. We do it based on, what they tell us to pay, property taxes and all that. Well, for last year, they said I overpaid my escrow. And so I got a refund check back. Well, the Lord said to me, he said, Shakima, that's not your money to use. He said, take that money and I want you to go ahead and make an extra mortgage payment. Now, because I made an extra mortgage payment, I was already used to paying 970 something, 977, 76 because of the previous 2 years, we had not met our escrow. So our payment kept going up. Well, because we were over in escrow, our payment went down to 892. And the Lord said, Shakima, you're already used to paying. Oh, perfect. Very good. He said, because you're already used to paying the 977.76, he said, I want you to bump that to $1,000 and just pay your mortgage at $1,000. Now my mortgage payment is $892 because it went down by $100 and some dollars. Well, it went down by less than a little bit under 100. But he told me, the Lord again told me to go ahead and make the overage to be $1,000. I think I calculated it. If I made a $10 extra principal payment, I would take about 3 or 4 years off of my mortgage. By making this extra $107 a month payment over, hey, Miss Lisa, good to see you. I'm shaving off closer to 7 years on my mortgage. Now, I'll tell you exactly how that's shaping up. Last month, the number that I had on my payoff, if I were going to pay it off, was significantly less than what it had been the month before. When I went in this month to make my payment, it was almost $4,000 as the payoff less. And I was like, oh my God, what in the world is going on here? So as I'm making extra payments towards my principal, not anything else, not taxes and all that, I'm paying towards my principal, it is shaving off some extra years on my mortgage. I also went in, it tells me when I go into the dashboard to pay my mortgage, it tells me what the property values are in my neighborhood, in my area. I live in the largest county in North Carolina, and it's also the fastest growing county in North Carolina. With that being said, when I paid for my home, if I sold it now at the price that they gave me, I would make almost, I would make 100, I would make over 100% what I paid for my house after I paid off my mortgage. It would be more, I would make profit for the house more than I paid for it when I first paid for it back in 2016. The kids and I have been in this house for 7 years. And that's without making any updates to it, doing anything. The only thing we added was the front fence because my neighbor has a fence here. There's a neighbor with a fence in the back, and this neighbor over here has a fence. So all I had to do to fence in my whole yard was add the front fence, and that was it. So because we're debt-free and we don't owe anybody, we're able to move a little better with our money. Now, I'm going to show you my sheet so that you're able to see what the sheet looks like without any of my, writings on it. And I will definitely walk you through this. Okay. So here's the budget sheet that I use. Somebody come take him, please. Thank you. Go find your people. Sorry, that's my grand dog. He does not like distractions or noises. Okay. So the personal budget sheet, again, this is not my sheet. I didn't create this. I actually was just doing a Google search. This came up in the search and I clicked on it. The reason that I like this budget sheet is because it does several things for me. I'm a once a month paid employee, so I'm only putting in money once a month, right? I can change these income categories because when I found it, it didn't have these on there. So they were totally different. People were counting in their EBT budgets. They were counting in child support. They had their, they were getting their monthly government checks. That's what was in that category. I changed all of that to fit my personal needs. But I have one sheet that I put all of my categories in for the month, and I'll show you what those are, right? All of those. And then when I'm ready to use this sheet for next month, I simply go to File, I make a copy, I give it a new name, and I have the sheet that I'm working on. That saves my original, so I'm not trying to figure out where's my original. I make one original copy, and then I make a copy of that original every single time I want to use the sheet. Now, this sheet is very intricately done with the formulas, and all of that is done. We don't have to do anything. The only thing is, if it's in yellow, it has a formula in it. Do not delete the formula, right? So do not delete any of your yellow boxes. And there are several on here. All of your column C is yellow. Don't delete your boxes. Now, the reason that these are yellow is because if I look at the bottom of my sheet, I see week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. When you go to your weekly sheet, let me decrease my size because it doesn't like it big. When you go to your weekly sheets, you're going to put in any transactions you did that week. Once you put a transaction in the week, it's then going to auto-populate into your month or your month at a glance. So that's why I like this budget sheet, is because I don't have to do any calculations. I don't have to make up the formulas. They're already there. All I have to do is put in my weekly amounts. Now, this sheet has 3 columns. So I have my income or expenses. Then I have my budgeted and my actual. So if I know kind of around about sort of what I'm going to make, I could put those budget numbers in. And then I'll put in my best estimation, what I think my bills are going to be. Once I start putting in for the weeks, then it populates into my actual column, which is where the yellow boxes are. So that's how the sheet works for me. Just why do we have people who do crazy stuff? Okay, very good. All right, okay. All righty then. Okay. So that's how that works, right? So if for some reason you're using this sheet, that's exactly how that works. And I use it religiously. I think I've used this sheet now for the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, maybe even longer than that, because it does the calculations for me. Now, any questions on that before I move forward? Does anybody have any questions on that before I move forward? Okay. If not, I'm gonna just keep going. All right. So I'm gonna stop sharing that sheet, and now we're moving into the actual budget sheet for the month of June. All right, let me see. All right, I'm pulling it in, and I'll go back to share. Alrighty, so here's my June sheet. Now, when you look at my income categories, yours could be totally different. You could have multiple people that are in your that have access to your finances. There's just me. So it's just, I don't calculate sister's finances. She does her own. She's 19. She does her own money. The only person's money that I regulate is Jackson, because Jackson is 14 and I am trying to help Jackson have a nice little something when he turns 18. If he wants to buy a car, if he wants to have money for college, if he wants, if he doesn't want to go to college and he just wants to maybe put down a down payment on a home, whatever he wants to do, I regulate his savings so that there will be something for him when he leaves this house. How do you do that, Shakima? Well, his dad sends child support and I use his child support for that. When before this past month, I was using his child support for his taekwondo. If they needed stuff for tournaments or if they needed new equipment, once they ranked up a belt or something like that, I never, this is just me, you can do you. I never count any money in my budget that I don't make. So child support, it might come, it might not come. I don't know if it's coming or not. So I don't count on it. If it comes, praise God. If it doesn't, oh well, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be happy about it because we have a court order. However, I'm not going to get myself bent out of shape, which is one of the reasons why I don't do the budgeted income, because I don't want to have a big letdown if that money doesn't end up being what it is. So my income categories are my monthly payroll deposit. That's what I make. This is my last official budget of the year, school year. Kids deposits, which is monthly child support. My one mom revenue and affiliate links. So remember, I said I won't be sharing much of that anymore because we're just at a different place in life. Probably I'll share YouTube stuff, but I won't share. When I really thought about it, my monetization over on Facebook is under Shakima Wilson. It's not under One Mom. It's not under my One Mom brand. So that's not technically going to be One Mom revenue. It's in a sense for my Shakima Wilson. It's not even First Love Ministries because that has its own separate brand. Travel reimbursement. So I travel between 3 schools. And if I go to one school for the day and I'm at that school, I do not get travel. If I go to one school and then I have to go to another school, say I have to work with one group here and then I have a later group in the afternoon at a different school. If I go to 2 schools, I'm then able to count travel from the first school to the second school. So they'll give me travel for that. If I'm at my office and I have to go to the county for a meeting, they'll give me travel for that because I don't get paid to go to my workplace of the day, but any additional traveling, they will give me travel. However, we do have work vehicles that we can drive if we put in notice for it or, put in a form. Unexpected gifts, blessings, and funds transferred. Sometimes people will be very generous and they'll bless us with something. If they do, that's where I count that category. Now, let me say this, and I do need to jump back over here because I want to make sure that nobody gets anything wrong here. I don't ask you to send me things. I don't ask you to send me stuff in my P.O. box. I don't ask people to send me money. I don't ask you to send me, I don't have a WhatsApp. I'm not working with an orphanage anywhere. I don't have any of that stuff going on. So if you ever see that, it's not Shakima. And people are so good now, they steal your little profile picture and they put stuff out there that I don't even see sometimes. I have to go to some back end of looking and I'm like, oh my God, what is this person? And they were praying just like I would be praying. So you might think it's me. It is not me. If you ever hear somebody say, let's talk on Telegram and let's talk on WhatsApp, that is not me. And if I need something, you're going to see this face right here asking you. Other than that, because the Lord has blessed us to the point where we are debt free, it just works out for us, right? I pay all my bills. My children's father sends their, Jackson's child support. That takes care of his things. Sister works a job full time. She takes care of her things. And my older 2 children live on their own and they both are gainfully employed. Shamika's employed at Stanford right now because she's in the doctorate program. And Trandon, he works from home. And he also has a second job. He is also discharged from the military by medical. So he gets a little bit of, income from that as well. So it's not us. If you send us something, we appreciate that. But I am not going to come on here and say, I need y'all to send me so I can help the orphanage. Well, I don't know an orphanage. Now, there was one time that I did ask y'all to help a program called Joy of a Child, right? But I sent a direct link to them, so I didn't even have to be involved. In the 1 year that I was involved, I actually came back on and did a second video with the person from Joy of a Child that lives in my area here in North Carolina, so that people could see what they were donating to. But that's been several years ago. I haven't done that again. And the kids and I also donated as well. All right, back to the budget. Okay, back to the budget. Now, so far, all I brought in was my payroll deposit, which is $3,093.64. Now, I am going to highlight this column for 1 second, and I am going to black that out so that we're not seeing column C. I just want you to see column B for right now. Okay, no other budget categories have come in, but I am going to now move us down to my expenses. Now, you can guesstimate your expenses if you like. I generally tend to just look at my bills and see what they are, or I try to look at last month's to kind of get a comparison. Some people like the guessing games. I do not. My mortgage, I always budget in $1,000. That gives me $107 over to go towards my principal. My mortgage is $892. I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, 1-car garage on 0.33 acres. Where I live, when I purchased the home, it was reasonable priced enough for me to be able to afford it and not be house poor. Because the housing market in my area has boomed within the last 7 years that the kids and I have lived in this house, we now have equity in our home. And when I sell this home and move to my husband's home, we will have money then to put into potentially him selling his home and us doing a home together that's ours that we purchased. If not, we will then reinvest that money into something different. So my electrical was $115.60, which is down from last month. I think it was $129. It has not gotten really hot here yet, but June, July, August, September, sometimes it's hot. My water and sewer bill was $72.23, which is really decent because I am watering my garden. And we do have a soaker system that does run, but I also have a rain barrel out there. So if I don't want to use a soaker, the kids and I could go out and use the rain barrel because it has rained and it has filled up the barrel. It did get really low, but it rained again for several days. So we do have a rain barrel to help with water expense. My cell phone is $110, and that's my cell phone and Jackson's cell phone. We're all on a family plan with Shamika, Alana, Shamika, Jackson, and me. So all 4 of us. So I pay for some of his, and I pay a tiny bit for sister's. I think I pay for her insurance in case something were to happen to her phone. My internet service is $79.99. I don't have cable. I just have internet. My household repairs. Now, anything you see with double stars that says sinking fund, I have a totally separate account that goes into. It's at a different bank. It's a Capital One 360 account that I don't have ready access to. I can't slide through anywhere and just run my debit card. I have to actually go online, make transactions, and I do have a debit card for it that I can then pay bills. So sinking funds, I always fund those out of any one mom income that I make from the YouTube channel. Moving down, household items. If I think I want to get something for the house, I may estimate something there. I don't foresee any type of projects or things I need to manage this month, so I left that empty. Mr. Jerome comes to cut my grass. He cuts my grass twice a month. It's $60 per cut. But Shakima, that's way more than $60. Yes, it is, because he also every summer, I have trees on the side of my house over here in the backyard. It used to be 11 trees. We had some cut down. So I think there's about 6 of them back there. It might be 5 or 6. I can't remember now. But in between those trees, as the year goes along, the winter and all that, in the spring, little mini trees and sprigs and weeds and stuff all grow up. And then over here on this side in the back where the garden is, it has the same situation. So because we don't want to have any problems with snakes, Mr. Jerome will come in and he cleans out all of that for us. He does a weed barrier and all of that. So I have to pay him for that. He's also putting a second gate on the fence for the garden, because in order for us to get to the garden now, we have to walk all the way around the yard to get to the other side. We need a fence. We need a gate right here on this side. My water is here. My back door is here. So it just makes sense for me to be able to go straight into the garden than to have to go all the way around. Do I mind walking? Not really. But it's more when we're trying to do the watering and stuff. So I don't know how much he's going to charge me for those two things. I know what he's charged me in the past to do all the weeds and stuff. And so I want to make sure that I have allocated in enough for him. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a very good idea. I didn't even think of that. Look at that. Okay. Now, my yearly recycling renewal, it comes up in July. So I have a sinking fund for that. My pest control, they're coming next week to spray. And so the money that's built up in that sinking fund, I will pay that directly out as soon as they spray. I then call, they do the transaction over the phone, but I need to be saving for the next 3 months installment of spraying, right? It's getting ready to be summer. There's summer bugs and all kinds of stuff. And we just don't do bugs on the inside of the house. It's perfect. And then they do what's called a yearly spray, where they actually come and they make sure that my termite stuff is good. And they just do one big, huge spray. And I started saving for that a couple of years ago, because I don't want to have those huge expenses to come. And I have not prepared for those. So I make sure that I put aside a few dollars every single month for whatever. So for my recycling renewal, it's $16 that I put aside. For my pest control, I put $28 in my fund. And for the yearly spray, I think I put $12 in a fund. It might be 14, 15, something like that. And I guesstimate $70. It should, be about that, or somewhere close. Moving down, Roth IRA, I really need to do better with that. I have an IRA through my work. This is something separate or individual that I need to start putting more money in. And so I will do that, but I allocate about $75 for that. My Amazon Prime, which comes due in January. So when it comes due in January, I want to make sure that I have enough money to pay it. So I just put $13 every month into a fund. And in January, I slide it over into my main account, takes it right out, no problem. PureFlix is the same. That renews in May. I probably could make myself a little note. So I make notes on my budget sheet. And if you have questions, please put those in the chat. And I'll keep going back and forth to see if I see any. But I make notes on my sheet so I know what I'm doing. I will click on the cell, then I'll right click and I'll insert a note just to myself. Amazon Prime, I'm just going to say renews in January, right? And I actually need to go and put this on my original sheet so I don't have to keep putting it that way every time. My PureFlix, I'm going to put myself another note. This renews in May. Every year renews in May. My Healthways gym is $25. Jackson's gym membership, which I did purchase for him. I purchased that for him because he decided he didn't want to continue with Taekwondo, because he's going to try out for high school sports, and it's high school sports and Taekwondo are usually around the same time. So I don't want to be paying an astronomical amount for Taekwondo and he misses the practices because he's got to be at high school sports practice. So he made that decision on his own. But because I'm saving the money from Taekwondo, I was then able to get him a gym membership where sister and I both go. He's not old enough now to do the Healthways. You have to be 18. So I'm eating a little bit more of him going to the gym. But again, his dad sends the child support. And so I use that to pay for the gym membership. I pay it out of my pocket up front. And then when the money comes in from child support, I can recoup it if I need to. Most times I don't even worry about it. But, I can recoup that money if I need to. My federal and state taxes, because I do have different side hustles or multiple streams of income, I am what's called a independent contractor. So I get a 1099 at the end of the year for my different side hustles if I make over a certain amount of money. And then I have to pay my own taxes. So I save about 15% of every dollar that comes in as a side hustle in an account. And then when it's time to do my taxes, I send my tax stuff to the accountant. She does all the things. And if I have to pay a bill, which I normally am paying North Carolina taxes, if I have to pay a bill, then what we do then is we go ahead and I just do my transaction because I have money saved in that account. I save money every single month that I am employed in some type of an independent contractor position. Homeschool, high school curriculum. Now that's a sinking fund. Jackson used to be a homeschool student. And because he was a homeschool kid, let's see. No, Mr. Jerome is married. He's an older gentleman. I actually met Mr. Jerome through a friend of mine. He used to do her yard. And so Mr. Jerome probably could be my dad. He's just an older gentleman. He just comes over and helps us out. I don't know if when he first started, he was like, oh, she's a single mom, let me help her out. And he's been doing my yard for a couple of years now, and it just works. I think it works out for him, and it works out for me, for him to be able to do all the things, right? I do need to make that. There's a couple of them on here that I need to do on my original sheet that I keep forgetting to do. So I'll fix that in just a little bit and make sure that it's on the original sheet. So then it'll be going forward. Let me see. I don't have an oops fund because I have my emergency fund, right? If it's an oops, it's probably an emergency. I don't put money aside for things like that because I just try not to have those. So if anything comes up that I didn't anticipate, it's usually going to come out of my emergency fund. That's just how I've always done it. I'm sure I could make another one. I did add in a garden fund because I do a lot with my garden. So I could have another one. But anyway, so Jackson's high school fund, because I would always, at the end of the year, I would be buying curriculum in August because I had to buy that myself. I would save $50 every month for 10 months, which would give me $500. That would be enough for his curriculum and sisters, because when you have 2 kids, you can get a discount for the multiple sibling discount. Well, when sister funneled out of high school, when she graduated last year, I was used to doing it. So I said, I'll save it for Jackson. Well, then we decided to send Jackson to public school. And so I didn't have to buy curriculum, but I still had money in that fund. So I now call it should just say high school fund and not curriculum, because I'm not buying curriculum. But what I do or use that for is if he needs tennis shoes, right? I don't have to take that money out of my fund. I just take it out of his high school fund. Every time Dad sends child support, the very first child support of the month, I pull $50 out. I chunk it into his account. He needed some soccer equipment. He needed some cleats. They're getting ready to have summer workouts. He grew, so he needed a few pairs of pants and some shirts, and I had money in that account. So instead of Mom trying to figure out where I was going to take it out of my paycheck, hey, Dad sends that money. I just put it in there, and it keeps growing and growing and growing until he needs something, and then I'll pull it out and I have the money for him. So I need to get back on, because we've spent some out of there. I need to save, because he goes back to school in August, and I'm sure he's going to want some nice new back to school clothes. So I'll be able to get him some things from that account. My new camera sinking fund is $20. Oh, okay. Moving down. Food expense. My monthly groceries, I take out one amount and then I break that up into weeks. However many weeks of the month we have, I then break it down. I like shopping every week at the grocery store. Some people do not like grocery shopping, so they shop once a month. I enjoy the payoff from the grocery store and getting the deals, because I started couponing. That was where I was able to save money before I had any money to save, was at the grocery store. So this month I'm only doing $200, partially because Sister and I are doing the whole 30. And then we're doing a partial pantry freezer challenge with Jessica over at Three Rivers Homestead. She usually does it in January and February, but she is doing it for June. She announced it on her channel a couple weeks ago. And so I thought, hey, the kids and I got some stuff we need to use that we haven't used. I've got a turkey, a ham, just all kinds of things I want to clean out so that I'm then able to restock fresh. So we're only doing $50 for fresh items. My summer groceries, I put $100 in because that's what the Lord told me to do. 2 years ago, I was doing $50 a month. Last year, I did $75 a month. And then this year, the Lord said, put $100 a month. So $100 a month for 10 months is $1,000. It gives me $100 a week for 10 weeks to buy groceries. That's all I have because I don't get paid in the summer. And then I pulled out some monthly preps, which you saw me explain in my grocery video that went out yesterday. I used that prep money to help us at Sam's. Worked out fine. Eating out, holidays, and entertainment. I do have a business work trip type thing coming up this month, but I have some vacation money saved up. And so I didn't put anything in there that I'm going to need to spend out of my own pocket. Moving down, for personal care, Jackson gets usually 2 haircuts. I'm not going to get my haircut because it is fairly short. So it'll be about another 6 to 8 weeks before I get my haircut again. And I'll think I'm just getting a trim, an edge up and a trim. So I'm not going to allocate money for me, but I will allocate for Jackson. He needs 2 haircuts and it's $25 and then we give a tip. P.O. Box is a sinking fund for $16. Now, I do have a dentist appointment this month, and I think I'm going to just cancel it. Right now, I'm good. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah, glory. But I've exhausted all of my benefits for this year because I had to have some other work done. I had a root canal, and that's exhausted everything. So if I go to the dentist, I'm paying straight out of pocket. Like I said, right now, I'm good. I took some antibiotics. I'm just being real tender with what happens on this side of my mouth. I'm compensating on this side. I don't want to incur. I think the lady said to get a root canal done on this back tooth is going to cost me about $1,800. That's out of pocket. So I think I'm going to cancel that appointment because I don't want to have an $1,800 bill right now. Those benefits will refresh themselves in January, or I have my Flex Benefits card that refreshes itself in September, and that'll take care of half of it, right? So I'm trying to make the best decision, but I don't want to have to come out of pocket with that amount of money. I do take a supplement for my health. That's $25 a month, and I've already allocated for that. Recreation, travel, entertainment, and vacation. I want to be able to save about $500. $50 is a sinking fund. I always put $50 in the fund, but $500, again, because I have a separate side hustle with that's under my Shakima Wilson brand, I can put money into that vacation fund from that. I don't pull it from one mom income. Last year was the first year that I was able to pay for the entire family to go on a family vacation. We didn't go far. We just went up the road to Myrtle Beach. We stayed for a couple nights. We got a really good deal. We took our own food. We didn't go to too many places. We went bowling, but we didn't go to too many places where we had to spend a lot of money. So it all worked out for us. And, God was gracious and he allowed me to save that money. And it all worked out. Jackson's savings account. So again, I take out money for the high school sinking fund. I take out $25 every time dad sends child support, and I put it in Jackson's savings account. That way, as the years go along, he's accruing a little bit of interest, and he will have something to take with him when he leaves. The biggest regret I have with my older children is I did not have any money to send with them when they left. But fortunately for us, they both went to the military. So they were taken care of. These 2 children who are not going to the military, I want to be able to have something for them. I was able to save a little bit for sister, not as much as I will for Jackson, just because Jackson will have been on child support for longer, right? So again, I was able to save some for sister. She has her own. She manages her money. I do put a little bit for Jackson. Gracie has a sinking fund. She gets $40, although this month is the month for her evaluation. And I think they said it was going to cost me about $180. So I'll probably have to pull some funds, but that's okay. I had to buy food and different things, and I have to get her heartworm done, and she had a bath, and she got her nails trimmed. So she has a sinking fund. She has expenses, and I just pull it from there. For my gas, I'm probably going to be able to recoup some money from gas because I put $200, but next week is my last week of work. So because I'm not driving to work every day, going to 3 different schools, I'm going to be saving on my gas, right? I'm not going to be going anywhere during the week except taking sister to work. Sister doesn't work very far, and she does give me gas money for taking her to work. Now, do I need sister to give me gas money? Absolutely not. But when all of my kids that worked and I had to drive them gave me gas money so that they would be in the habit of, if you drive a vehicle, you got to put gas in it. It's just teaching responsibility. Do I use it to put gas in my car? Yes, I do, because she still needs to understand there's a responsibility that goes with a vehicle. So I'm not going to have to drive a ton of places. But again, I divide that into how many weeks that I have, and that's how much money I put in my envelope. Oil change. I get my oil change every 10,000 miles. It's $20. I ended up having to buy tires this year because couldn't pass inspection, and I didn't plan for that. So now I put money into a sinking fund for my tires. If something happens, I'm good. I was driving the other day to pick Alana up from work, ran over something. I ran over something, y'all. Oh my goodness. And my tire light came on. Fortunately for me, Walmart was open because the place I normally go, they were closed for Memorial Day. Walmart was open and they were able to get me out of there with fix it and get me out of there. And then for Sister's Replacement Fund, you've seen me do the $20 savings challenge. I take $20 out of every child support payment and I put it in the envelope for Sister. Well, Sister's not on child support. No, she's not. But my child support amount did not decrease. It's the same as it has always been for all of my children. And so because that is the way it is, I just pull out money to put it in there for her. Do I have to? I do not. Do I? I do. Now, my tithe and offering, I know a lot of people don't understand why I do this, and I can't explain it to you except to tell you that the Lord blesses me when I return the tithe into the storehouse. So $520 is what I give to my church because that is 10% of my gross income. I tithe off my gross income, not my net. You do you as your understanding is, and you and the Lord work that out. I have several other ministries that I do support on the word of the Lord just this year recently. And so that's $260. For my baby step number 3, because I'm trying to build past that 3 to 6 months worth of savings, I want to put $1,000 in there. And then for business expenses, because I do have to pay for it, I have to be careful how I do all this, right? I have to make sure I'm putting the right expenses with the right things. My Canva that I use for One Mom, my Google Meet that I use for my membership people, and my Restream, which I'm using now to video in several different places for One Mom, all end up being about $50. So I have business expenses. Now, with that being said, that gives me total expenses of $5,482.82. That is $2,482, $2,400, almost $82.82 below what my actual income was thus far. Now, right? Oh, I blacked it out. The reason that I do all of that is so that I know what I'm working with, right? Now, if someone were to say, well, Shakima, you can't afford what you have. Here's what I can do. I don't have to put $500 in my vacation fund. I'm going to put $50, period. Point blank, period. I'm going to put $50 for sure. If I'm unable to do my baby step $1,000, I can take that out. Now I'm down to I'm at $3,982. Okay. Can I shave anywhere else? Is there anything else that I can take off? If I needed to, yes. However, I didn't get child support, which some of those things in my list will come out of child support. I didn't get One Mom revenue yet, which my sinking funds come from there. So it all works out in the wash. But I just put it in here so that I'm able to know exactly what my bottom line is, right? You don't have to guesstimate or estimate. I just want to know what my bottom line is. If I'm, I put all of my numbers in. And that's how that works for me. And I just did that all wrong. My bad. Okay, let me go back and fix that. And then that was $50. Okay. All right. So now I'm back to what I had. Now I'm going to stop sharing that and I will jump back over and see. I'll ask sister. I've asked her before. Sister's not really a big person for the videos, but I've asked her before if she wanted to show or share what she does. Sometimes she does, but sometimes she's like, I don't want to do it, Mom, but I'll ask her to see if she, Cindy, it normally is 3,000 miles, but the powertrain, let me see if I can tell you this right. The powertrain, I'm going to mess this all up, and I'm not a dude, but the way that the gentleman explained to me at the Toyota place, when I bought the model car that I have, the 2013 powertrain something, only requires you to change your oil every 10,000 miles, because I was changing my oil in my other car every 3,000. But something about this model is different, and I only change it every 10,000 miles, and I've not had any trouble as of yet. And every time I go through, they do my little checky things, and I take it to the Toyota place. I don't go to any like little mom and pop shops or whatever, because I want to make sure that I keep this car in very good condition. So that is something about this model, because that was my question too. I'm like, wait a minute, that don't sound right. But something about this model is a little bit different than the other previous Toyotas that I had. So I'm going on their recommendation. If something goes wrong, then me and Toyota have a little chitty chat. Okay. The other thing I wanted to share with y'all, because I'm done. I've been talking too long. Y'all pray for me. I just be chatting too much. Okay. Don't forget to like the video and do all the things. Okay. 52-week challenge. I talk so much. I think it's because my heart is so pure towards everybody. I want to make sure that those of you who are in a situation like I was when I first started, you don't feel hopeless. You can do this. If I can do this with $25 a week for groceries, you can do this. I know it's a little different out here in our economy, but God is my resource, right? He makes a way for Shakima. He makes a way for me. I don't know how to explain it different. I'm telling you, I needed a prescription, right? I've never gone to the pharmacy and not been able to get a prescription. I've heard, in these supply chain streets now that okay. I knew that there were supply chain issues and shortages, but I've never experienced that. So I needed a medication, and I, put it in early because I wanted to make sure I had it on the day that I needed it. And they called me, there was an issue. So the doctor, she did her thing and she got it there to them. Well, then they sent me another thing saying it was out of stock, supply chain issues. So I called and I'm like, well, what does that mean? It's like, well, we don't have it. Nobody in our system has it. The closest place they were sending me was about an hour away to get it. And I'm like, I'm not driving that far. So then I called another pharmacy. None of them had it. Then I called Sam's. They didn't have it. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I've never experienced it. I can't even imagine what people who need their medications for survival. I could do without it, but for survival, oh, very good. I'm so very glad. That's what I'm here for. Slow and steady, right? Wins the race. You can do it. I believe in you. So I didn't get my medication and I needed to take it today. Today was the day. And sending a message to my doctor and said, listen, they're having supply chain issues. They don't have it. So I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing before. No worries. She said, well, Shakima, did you try this place? And I was like, no, I didn't even think about that. Let me call them right now. I call them. I'm like, hey, I'm looking for this. They're like, sure, we got it. That's the favor of God. I know that doesn't have anything. How does that correlate to you paying tithes? There is a favor attached to my life because I am a tither. That is what I believe. If you don't believe that, that's fine. Just don't spoil it for me because I'm a witness. Now, saying all of that, I want to share this, right? I started off this year doing the 52-week challenge. That was number your envelopes 1 to 52, and every week you put something in it. Well, I'm only paid once a month, so I have to pull a couple of envelopes at a time. I have to pull 4 this month. I pulled $73 worth of envelopes. I pulled 35, 14, 15, and 9. So that was $73. Why am I sharing that? Because I'm at June, right? This is the end of June will be the 36th week. We're halfway through. 26th week, the 26th week. We're halfway through. And thus far, here are all the envelopes that I've been able to save in my savings challenge. Now, that may not seem like a lot to anybody, but when I started this journey, y'all, I didn't have an extra dime, penny, nickel, or nothing. The kids and I always include my children. I never like to leave them out. I'm doing the savings, but it's the kids and I, right? We saved $617 in this envelope. $617 worth of 52-week challenge envelopes we've been able to save. I never would have been able to do this had I not gotten out of debt. Now, I still have, some envelopes that I still have to stuff for the rest of the year, but I'm closer than I was, right? So I still have some. There's some that are still pretty large, but it's balanced itself out. I shuffled them all together and I pulled them randomly. So that's done. So on the envelope, I numbered them 1 to 52, right? So 1 per week for each week of the year. On the front, if I pull 37, I'm going to put $37 in this envelope. So that's 120, 110, 15, and 2 ones. I pull the exact amount and I put it in my envelope. Every time you get paid, however many weeks it is, you pull that many envelopes. If you're paid every week, you pull 1 a week. If you're paid twice a month, you pull 2 a week. 2 a month, 1 every other week. I'm paid once a month, so I pulled 4 during my paycheck this time. And I've been able to save $617. Well, what am I saving that money for? Well, the thing is, my daughter's getting married. Shamika lives in California. All 3 of the kids, my 2 kids and I have to fly to California. We live coast to coast. So I've got to pay for 2 plane tickets. Jackson's ticket is already paid for. We thought the wedding was going to be a different date. They pushed it back, but I had already paid for Jackson's ticket. So now I have to pay for me and sister. Well, sister's grown. She can pay for her own. Yes, she can. But I'm doing the challenge, right? So I want to be sister works, but she doesn't make a ton of money. I don't want to tax her with everything. And this is something I can do for her. So I don't want to tax her on everything. She's in the wedding. She's paying for all of her clothing for that. I'm not paying for any of that. But I've been able to save, all of these amounts in my envelopes and I don't touch it. People say, oh, I could never do that. I'm gonna spend it. Well, I don't worry about it. And if you do think you're gonna spend it, do a digital savings, right? Put it in your bank, get a savings account, mark down a list of 1 through 52. And every time you pull an envelope, you slide that amount into your savings account and you mark that amount off. I don't think about it except for when I am pulling envelopes to stuff. And I almost forgot about it this month because I don't think about it. Right now, that's done. Here is my cash envelopes. Here are my cash envelopes. Let me get my wording right. I apologize. Here are my cash envelopes. These envelopes come from a Etsy shop called Shonversation. If you go to her shop and you want a discount, use my code Shakima. It'll give you 10% off at checkout. You don't have to have fancy schmancy envelopes to save money. If this doesn't work for you, go to the Dollar Tree, get you $1.25 envelopes, and move on with your best life. Please, please, please don't go broke trying to buy stuff. These were sent to me as a gift from my dear, dear friend, Miss Karen. She just wanted me to have them. I didn't even know they were coming. I got a note that said, your friend Karen wanted you to have these, and I sent them to you. I just looked at the note last night, and she said, your friend Karen wanted you to have these cash envelopes. She said, I added in a few other items, wishing you much success on your wealth building journey. We are in our wealth building stage simply because I'm out of debt. Once you get out of debt, again, you're able to tell your money what to do. My money does not tell me what to do. Now, I've got 5 weeks of groceries, 5 weeks of gas, simply because some months have 5 weeks. This month only has 4, so I only stuffed 4 weeks worth. So I went ahead to the bank and I got out my cash. So I have cash in here for my groceries, and I have cash in here for my gas for the next 4 weeks. So I already pulled out my cash. I'm not going to do a separate cash envelope video. I just didn't have time. Why do I use cash for those categories? Because I am a swiper. I can justify swiping my debit card like nobody's business. Swipe, swipe, because in my mind, I'm calculating. I can swipe, swipe, swipe. I should make a song. But when I wanted to get my spending under control, I went to a cash-based system. When the money is gone, the money is gone. It is no more money. It is over. That's why I give myself weekly money so that I can go to the grocery store every week and have something in my hand. Okay? If you don't need weekly money, do it once a month and live your best life. I do mine weekly so I can have the payoff of knowing that I have the money and I can go buy what I need. Okay, so that's done. Now, I usually keep Mr. Jerome, I pay him in cash. He is not he doesn't do any type of PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. Don't come to Mr. Jerome talk about no newfangled apps. He's not doing any of that. He is a cash guy, and we give him cash, and it works. Some people have said to me before, Shakima, why doesn't your son cut the grass? He's old enough to cut the grass. It will save you some money. Jackson's asthma and allergies, the asthma and allergies that we've been fighting with him since he was born. This is not something that's new. Jackson spent his very first Christmas in the hospital because he was in such an asthma place. If Jackson goes outside to cut the grass, I know for sure that's going to send me to the ER. The ER cost me $1,000 because we have not met our deductible. Jackson don't get sick very often, but I have to pay a $1,250 deductible before my long-term insurance will kick in. So if I let Jackson cut the grass once, $1,000 at the ER. So I would rather pay Mr. Jerome $120 for 2 cuts than to have Jackson go to the ER because he tried to cut the grass. So I know people don't understand. He's a boy. He needs to learn stuff. He knows how to do other things. If I need other tinkering things done in the house, he does those. He goes out and helps in the garden. He does all those types of things. But cutting the grass is not something that I am willing to fudge on, negotiate, because you people with their opinions, and you're welcome to them, do not have to go with me to the ER, and y'all don't have to pay the bill, right? And I've already paid enough of those to know what's going to happen, so I don't do it anymore. Okay, very good. Okay, beauty and personal care, I don't have anything in that simply because I just do all my things. I will get my eyebrows done about every 8 to 10 weeks, about the same time that I get an edge up and a haircut if I need it. Other than that, I'm just kind of, I'm doing what I can do around here. I don't wear eyelash extensions. I do get my nails done. I probably get my nails done once every 4 to 6 weeks, probably more to 6 weeks. It's the one thing that I do that makes me feel like a woman. I mean, I look like a woman. I'm born a woman. I am a woman. I identify as a woman. But my nails make me feel special, and I get them done. Do I have to get my nails done? I do not. But it's the one thing that I do for myself. Okay. Recreation, I don't have any money in there. Nothing. Okay. This one right here, this is my summer grocery envelope. I used to have this in a separate thing, but it was the only thing in there. So I just thought, hey, put it in here, keep it all together. Now I have $1,000 in this one envelope. This is going to be my summer grocery money because I don't work in the summer. I have to allocate money to go to the grocery store or my children will not eat. I mean, we have food, they'll eat, but we want to get the fresh things and the produce and I got to have toilet paper and all that stuff. Because I don't have an income, I had to save $100 every single time I got paid for the 10 months that I work. And that gives us 10 weeks worth of grocery money. $100 every week for 10 weeks is how much I was able to save out of my regular paychecks for my summer months. The reason I started this channel is because I only had about $100 extra once I paid all my bills for the summer. And I was splitting that up into 4 weeks. I was using $25 a week to feed my kids. I was couponing like a crazy person, but I was able to do it. As the Lord has increased us and the streams of income, and we out here working. Now, don't think we ain't working because we working, but I'm now able to do $100 a week in the summer. This one right here is all of Jackson's cards. He gets birthday cards and all those types of things that he never spends. So I put them in here. If we need to go make a purchase, we use these first, and then we'll see, save our cash. Let's use that money. These are the last things I'm going to share. These envelopes actually came from Sean. So I am an affiliate with Seanversation. If you do use my link or click on my link and use my discount code, I do get something back from that. Just in full disclosure, that's all in the description box. You should see all of that. She has a new set of envelopes. It's called the Black Queen. She is the most powerful piece in the game, right? And I love the Black Queen. But these are savings challenges. So this is a $5 savings challenge, which is different than my regular vacation fund, but I'm saving this for vacation. There are 60 bubbles on the back, and every time I have a $5 bill, I stick it in here and I mark off a bubble, right? There's a $10 savings challenge. I'm not doing that one, but there's a $20 savings challenge. This is what I'm saving for sister's car match money. Her dad's going to give her some, I'm going to give her some, and she's making some. So every time I get a $20 bill, I just go over and I mark one of her bubbles. There are 60 bubbles here. That should give us $1,200 by the time we're done. I am planning to do the $50 challenge and the $100 challenge next year, right? I'm going to just try to do them all. What is it telling me doing all of this? The first thing it says is I don't have to spend money just randomly. I don't. I can save. The second thing it's telling me is I'm in a better place than where I was when I first started, right? And I'll take that. I'll take it. Am I in a better place than everybody else? Probably not. I'm sure there's some of you on here doing way better than I am. Some of you have 2 incomes because you have a spouse. I don't have a spouse. So I'm doing the best I can with what I got in it, and it's working out for me. But I've had to say no to Shakima quite often. I've had to say, no, ma'am, you can't have that, or we need to wait until this happens, or yeah, you need that. Is it going to be a fill-in or a full set? Well, the full set is going to be like really a lot. The fill-in is like a little bit. So maybe, yeah, we're going to go with that fill-in today, right? So again, Jackson needs a haircut. You need a haircut and you got your nails done. Okay, Jackson gets the haircut, no haircut from mom. I've just had to make those choices, and it hasn't been bad. What it's taught me is I can say no to me, and it's fine. On the days that I do want something, I just get what I want because my money is working for me now. The other 2 things I wanted to say, if you have not purchased my books, if you would love to, this one is my newest book. It's called Wisdom from a Deep Well. It's just words to live by, quick quips that the Lord has given me, downloads from Jesus. I'll just give you one. Don't abort the process. You have to go all the way through to the other side to see what God said. Don't abort the process, right? Goes with your budgeting. Don't abort the budgeting process. You have to go all the way through to the other side to see what he said. So these are very just quick little quips and quotes that God has given me over the years, and I just compiled them into a book form. This is available on Amazon. If you want to get this, please do feel free to go over and get that. And then my second book well, actually, the first book is the 90-Day No Talk Experiment. This book is just like more of a devotional. It has a lot of my life story in it, what the kids and I went through, how the Lord blessed us to get to the point that we're at right now. And it came out of a hurtful and a painful place. I'd met a gentleman thinking he was the one. He ended up not being the one. And we were having some communication issues. And I was like, this is frustrating me. I don't live in frustration. And the Lord said, 90 days, Shakima. I don't want you to talk to him for 90 days. And I said, okay, God, I hear you. And so I thought in 90 days he would call me. He didn't call in 90 days. It probably was 180 days before I heard from him again, which it was a very brief contact, and life goes on. So, but I wrote a book out of it, and I incorporated a lot of the things that the kids and I went through. The first 12 days were actually about that situation. Everything after that is how the Lord brought the kids and I out. So if you want to hear that story or read that story, please feel free to do that. I do want to thank you guys so much. I hope that was helpful. Please make sure if you're on YouTube to like the video. It just helps us to get our numbers back up. Like I said, my numbers on YouTube are way, way down. I've never been this slow since like the second year I was in YouTube, and I'm going on 9 years, and I don't understand what's going on. That's okay. I have other income sources that pay me way more than YouTube, but I still want to be able to glean from here. The summer will boost my productivity as far as videos are concerned. So I'm excited about that. But like the video, share all the things. Make sure you're subscribed. If you have questions, leave them down in the chat, and I will, or leave them in the comments, and I will try to answer those as best I can. I do want to thank everybody so much for stopping by. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye now.